belief is in short supply, and stories that can help people believe more in themselves, good stories to tell.
You've had the courage, like for 25 years really, to address these really tough, timely subjects. I think about Bloody Sunday and United 93, of course. They're not just about crisis, they're about accidental heroes stepping up. And I wonder, just as a general question to you, why is that important to you for your whole career to take on that subject?
Well, I think if you're looking to make films that sort of speak to where we are, you know, if you can root them in a real world and a real story, you know, that gives you a way in, and you can sort of explore issues without giving lectures, because they just are in it. You know, they're part of the DNA of the film. Right. And then if you can locate in the middle of a larger canvas, an intimate human story, then, you know, you've got the basis for a movie, I think. And you know, what I think is that there's a kind of golden thread, I think, in narrative cinema or commercial cinema or Hollywood, whatever you want to call it, which is if you can locate a film where it's about the human spirit and survival and, you know, affirmation of life. And if you can do that on the one hand without sentimentality, because that's a danger on one side, and on the other hand without being bleak or nihilistic, because I think that's also a danger. And if you can thread your way through those two dangerous rocks, then you've got the basis for a movie that I would want to watch. And I think a lot of people like those kind of movies too.
I mean, maybe a question for all of us. Are you feeling a general sense of responsibility to make films like that in the moment we're in right now?
I certainly feel that it's more important than ever for storytellers to do their job well and to tell stories in a way that people want to watch them, and not just tell stories they feel good about telling, you know, and to really tell a story that is going to keep an audience engaged and not checked out or feeling isolated.
You were talking yesterday about how you felt this was like you were in a superhero movie minus the spandex. You know, I mean, yeah, you don't have to be animated to be a hero. I mean, generally, I'm not talking about us as actors in this movie in particular, but, you know, what Paul's saying, movies with an affirmation of life, the power to survive is the greatest need an actor can be given. You know, that, and then secondly, your children. In this movie and these roles have both of those as our needs, you know. And I don't know if I feel a responsibility to do these kind of movies, but I do think that belief is in short supply, and stories that can help people believe more in themselves, take more care of what they give a damn about, good stories to tell.
Yeah. I could watch you in Dallas Buyers Club and Dazed and Confused all day. Love those movies, but I feel like you are reaching for a different register in this film and expanding. Was that something conscious on your part? Are you?
Yeah, I think so. Look, the role had two of those things I'm talking about that are the greatest needs that you can go in to try and overcome the obstacles in any film, which is survival and your children, you know. And it had those. It also, I think, had something to say about a lot of middle-aged men, not only in America but around the world, that are looking up and looking around and going, oops, what happened? I've failed. This is not what I thought I'd be, where I'd be. Failed relationships, failed careers, failed as father, et cetera, et cetera. And then leaning into the larger themes, which Paul wrote this great line, which we put in there at the end, which is, you know, I felt like I was too late as a son, now I'm going to be too late as a father. And do you get a second chance? That was a personal hook that Paul had and gave me, that we discussed. That, everything on the inside and outside of that throughout the film, and that sort of summed it up. And do you get a second chance?
Finding that kind of redemption, it's very much about that, The Lost Bus.
Yeah, if you get one, You know, you can keep passing the buck and going, well, if I got one now, it's probably going to be there later. Not necessarily.
Right.
You might want to take it now.
Yeah.
And all the stories all the stories of the characters in the film are to do with last chances and whether you get a last chance, whether you get a second chance, because that's kind of where we are really in a burning world. Is it too late, or do we get a second chance to fix it? Really,
America, you showed us exactly that in Barbie. That you showed us that there's no movie, regardless of to who it's pitched and how large it is, where you can't dig at something angry and significant and real inside a character. It's provided you're working with willing partners who let you go there and you go there. Did that work for you with Lost Bus in the same way? Did you feel liberated?
Well, I think that what I was so intrigued by in the Lost Bus was the individual character journeys, but I was also really interested in the two Kevin and Mary's characters' kind of trajectory towards each other. These people who don't know each other make snap judgments right away, and they have strong feelings about, like, that's your job, it means you're this kind of person, this is my job, I'm this kind of person, let's do this thing we got to do for 10 minutes and I never have to see you again. And it's how we relate to most people we walk past. We're not curious about who are you and what do we have in common, and to be on that journey towards where they have to sit in the exact same place in their life where it may be the end of the line and there's nothing to hide behind anymore, and they forge their similarities in that moment. To me, that was such a beautiful journey of just the most essential human truth, which is we're all going to the same place, right. And we all have so much more in common than we take any time to really think about. And I think that was an exploration that's really worth it. What's worth our time in this time.
Pardon this lighter question, but I have to ask it. When we see the shot of two people at a bus working through something, we all think of Speed.
Of course.
And which is a classic action film.
Yep.
Was there ever a moment when you're shooting this where you're like, oh my God, I'm making my own Speed?
All the time.
You did all the time?
Well, of course.
You're on the bus.
It's a fantastic movie. Yeah. The point is, but it's not Speed. It's in a real world and real people and a real story, and that's the difference.
I'm going to sneak in one more question to that effect, which is, have you showed the people of Paradise this movie, and what do they think?
They were all there last night. All of, Kevin and Mary and Ruby, the dispatcher, and John Messina, the fire chief. They were all there, and their families, and
the sense of responsibility you must have felt to serve their story.
You always feel that, and that comes with the territory of making these kinds of films. You have to make all sorts of judgments in a sort of third dimension about what's the right way to do it, how to do right by them, and in the end you always know there's going to come a moment when you're going to show them the film, as we did a couple of months ago now. And I mean, I've never had an experience where people have repudiated one of these films, but if you don't believe that it could happen, you wouldn't do it in the right way. And in this case, they were there and they've come every step of the journey with us, and it was wonderful to see them get such a great ovation last night when they stood up. That was a fantastic moment.